When the Lord didn't want David to build a temple, I remind you who David is. He's a man after God's heart. He's a man who clearly knows the voice, the presence of the Lord. He is a man who, according to Acts 2, is a prophet. He's functioning as a priest before the presence of the Lord, and he is the king of Israel. He's probably the most highly gifted individual of his era. He went and sought counsel from the priest about building a temple. God would not speak to him directly. He would only speak, not the priest, the prophet, Nathaniel. The Lord would not speak directly to David. Why? It had nothing to do with David's spirituality or lack thereof. It had everything to do with the way God works is to strengthen our dependence and our ability to walk together in community. And so there are times he will provide what I need through the voice of this person. There are times I'm crying out to God and I'm asking for an insight, and yet the insight will come from the testimony of a child. If I'm hungry, I am positioned to receive. If I'm arrogant, it has to come to me directly. And the Lord always works in a way that is both beneficial to me as an individual, but beneficial to us as a family. And so Jesus appears to Mary Magdalene. She tells the disciples, they don't believe her. He appears to two guys on the road. They come back and tell him they don't believe him either. So Jesus does his appearing out of nowhere act and rebukes them for their hardness of heart. Why? Because the hardness of heart caused them to be skeptical of the testimony of another person. Now here's the challenge. All of us have heard and have seen testimonies that were not legitimate. And we've heard and seen testimonies that were true. I have a friend years ago, I couldn't believe it. He's a little rascal. And he told me this bizarre story of his conversion. I mean, it was just amazing. I was just in awe. And it went on for, it seemed like an hour, but it's probably 10 minutes, you know. And he told me details about his story that were just stunning. And then when he was through, he says, now do you want to hear the real one? There are some people who reject a story because the story is unbelievable and it's true. And they accept a story that's totally believable, but it's a lie. How can you tell the difference? Only one of the two releases presence. If everything is always intellectually appraised and not valued from the sense of presence that is released in the environment, then it's going to be difficult for us to recognize what is right and what is not. Plus, love has a unique edge to it because according to the Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians 13, love believes all things. You're making me work here tonight. I can see what's happening. There's a bent to believe. It doesn't mean gullible, doesn't mean become a doormat, but it does mean that I am in such anticipation of what God is doing and saying that I am looking for what He's saying next. You don't have to win me over. You don't have to convince me. I am hungry, and I know that my hunger attracts the very thing I'm looking for.